Hey guys, so me again. So it must be Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central European Time. So it's time for another episode of Be, Think, Transform. This week, I posted on my personal profile and asked all my friends what topic they would like me to speak to. And I have picked um, Julie Medacy's question about figuring out how to stop trying to do it all when life gets chaotic. So stay tuned, coming right up. Hello again. All right. So Julie is an online nutritionist and a health and fitness coach. And we've done some coaching together, but we've also been on courses together. So I know her both, in a more private setting and in a more professional one. So her question was, when I said, what would you like me to talk about? And she said, figuring out how to stop trying to do it all when life gets chaotic. So I asked her what particular flavor her trying to do it all was. And she said, it's the ever growing to-do list and me thinking I can get to it if I just focus more or work harder. And it ends up making me really stressed when I can't finish everything. So, quick side note, this is a huge topic. And I am going to try and touch on two aspects of it today, but it is a lot. And I'm really trying to keep my shit together. So please be kind. If I forget a few things, skip over a few things. I'm really trying to do my best. All right. So because there are a couple of things that jump out at me from this. But first, let me tell you how our conversation continued. Because I asked her if what she had tried to get a handle on this problem so far. And she's taking a deep breath and knocking out the small things, deciding what really has to be done and trying to figure out the rest. It's front of mind as I prepare for a big trip and there are more things to do to prepare than time available. So that is shite, right? It is, when you have there's a time limit to what you need to get done, and you have certain expectations of what needs to get done, right? So when I asked Julie if she thought it was more of a priority problem for her, and she emphatically, nodded her head and says, yes, 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 give it to me. So I'm going to start with a bigger, kind of aerial view of the problem as I see it, because there, oh, hey, by the way, I can see some people commenting. So there are certain things, well, let me start by telling you where I'm lifting all of my ideas from. All right. So this is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And it's like the personal development Bible, I would say. And look, there's a big crack in the spine, which goes right to the management matrix, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So the management matrix, basically, let me show you. I drew this up for you. The management matrix means you divide all of your tasks or you identify the quadrants, he calls them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are either important, not important, or urgent, not urgent. And right now, Julie is probably right in the important and urgent crisis management, putting out fires mode, because she has, a time restriction and she needs to get these things done for things to work. And this, unfortunately, is also where, even if we don't have as much of a time restriction as Julie is facing right now, where we spend most of our time. Then further down, so I'm just going to skip over 2 because 2 is the important one. That's where we want to get to. But 3 and 4 are the not important ones. So that is not important but urgent, and not important and not urgent. So not important but urgent are a lot of the phone calls that we get, a lot of the emails that pile up, the in folder, stuff that is just pouring at us. And it's also other people's quadrant 1. It's other people's urgent, important things. They're saying, oh, I have this huge problem and I need to fix it now. Can you do it for me? And when we're talking about the entrepreneurial space, this is sometimes people that we've hired to take workload off of us, who then come back and create more work for us because they keep asking for our help or for us to put out certain fires. And to get around that is really to give them more authority. Because if you're a micromanager by nature, then that's going to happen a lot. But if you educate your staff, if you trust your staff, if you give them the autonomy to manage their own workload, then poof, that little dagger gets pulled out of the flesh. All right. So, but what can I tell Julie right now? How can I help Julie with this huge to-do list that she needs to get done so she can go on this trip, but she feels that she can't get a handle on all the things that she has to do? So here's another thing. And that is that Julie, I know, has a mental list. She will have this constant ticker going through her brain, like, remember this, remember that, don't forget this. You have to do the stuff around the house. You have to do the stuff for her business. And now she has to do the stuff for the trip. Yeah. I also know that Julie has a partner who's very supportive and who is no doubt standing there saying, how can I help? Yeah. But the how can I help doesn't help right now, because that doesn't alleviate the pressure from the ticker, from the mental list that Julie has. So to get around that is, again, to take some control and let go of it by giving it to somebody else. So what Julie could do right now in terms of the organizing of the trip is take those things that only she can do and keep those lists. So that would be her own business, that it's still going to, that she'll still have to look after certain things to do with her business, which her husband can't do. But her husband could organize maybe the accommodation, or I don't know what kind of trip it is. Maybe she needs to bring groceries along, or, schedule corona tests. I don't know, like whatever it is. But there are certain things that she could give the entire list of to her husband. And that requires one important step, though, and that is to let the other person do it their way. And that is because, we have our way of doing things, and we're really good at doing those things, right? It's working us to the bone, it's stressing us out, but we still get it done, and we get it done in a way that we enjoy the results of. But if you want to alleviate your load, you have to be okay with somebody doing it just a little bit different. Yeah. So maybe it's not going to be the hotel or the apartment or whatever accommodation that Julie would have picked, but she will have a bed to lie to lie down on in the evening when she gets to her destination. Or her husband will have bought some groceries that will keep them ticking over. So if she, when she gets to a point where, okay, right now I've cleared all my slate for my business, now I have more time to look at this again, then she can spend some time to maybe help her husband figure things out. in a way that is a little closer to the way she would do it. Yeah. So this would be my advice to somebody who is in crisis mode right now. Take a moment and figure out and discuss this with the people you trust who can take off the load of the mental list. Don't just say, all right, here's the list in my head and I'm transmitting it, mentally, to all of the people in my life. And when they don't do what you have transmitted to them, then you get upset, because that doesn't work, right? So even if you are writing lists for your family members, writing them down, and they don't do it, it's because they don't have authority over it. So they will be much more inclined to actually do certain things when they feel that it's their responsibility to do those things. All right. So that is the crisis mode. I hope, Julie, that helps a little bit. And then I wanted to look at the bigger picture of the management matrix as talked about by Stephen Covey and that I've mentioned earlier. So you have the quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4, ranging from urgent, important to not urgent, important, not important, not urgent, and not important, urgent, and not important, not urgent. That's quadrant 4. So the crisis management that we talked about, that is quadrant 1. That's burnout land. All right. This is when every day we're bombarded by stress. Every day people bring their important stuff to us as well. We have to figure it out. Otherwise, nothing will get done. But that is not quite an illusion, but you can change something about this. And you can change the amount of stresses that keep pouring in every day by spending more time in quadrant 2. That is the important but not urgent category. So that is planning. That is relationship building. Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. When you're handpicking certain people in your life or in your business and give them authority over an area, so you don't have to micromanage them all the time. And that is also recreation, play, and self-care. That is important but not urgent. Then in quadrant 3, this is the tricky one, because those activities can be quite pleasurable and they're usually like the icing on the cake. So let's say in your business, it's important for you and like somewhat urgent to create a sales page for a new product that you're selling. Then quadrant 3 activities might include ordering like a special logo for this offer, and having a designer make little icons so the sales page will look really flashy. Yeah. So those are not important, but urgent, because they're connected to this important and urgent project that you have of creating a sales page. And the reason why we do them is also this is also the stuff where when you have an unordered to-do list, they're the easy things. Yeah. And the crucial thing to know about those is when you have a really long to-do list, and which is what Julie said. Yeah. Julie did say that she has an ever-growing to-do list and she thinks she can get to it if I just focus more. No, hold on. Where did she say it? Yeah. So when I asked her what she had tried, she said taking a deep breath and knocking out the small things. Yeah. So that was a warning sign for me, was that she's probably doing the small, unimportant things, because every time you complete a task, your brain gets a little dopamine hit. Yeah. Oh, yay, I've finished one. Yeah. The good thing is that dopamine is the motivating hormone. So when you do get these little boosts, it will also keep you going. However, when you find yourself that you keep reading around certain really important specific tasks, then there's a problem. Yeah. And you need to identify the most important things, the things that make or break your business, the things that make or break your trip. Yeah. So maybe it won't kill you if you don't do the grocery shopping before you go on the trip. You could still do it when you get there. But it might be a problem if you haven't done your corona test, because they won't let you in a hotel, even if you haven't booked it yet. So when you're looking at a business, there's a rule called the 20/80 rule. And that means that 20% of the activities that we do generate 80% of the positive results in our business. So all this glitzy stuff, all the little things that keep you occupied and give you these little dopamine hits, they're the 80% of neglectable tasks. They're the 80% of the stuff that doesn't make a huge difference in your business. And then in quadrant 4, this is what I call like well, I don't really call it that, but when I think of quadrant 4, I always think of somebody sitting on the toilet and playing on their mobile phone. You know, it's not important and not urgent. And that is the area that we escape to when we're overwhelmed by quadrant 1. Hey, Malcolm, good to see you. So what can we learn from this? Well, first of all, I would highly recommend you get this book, because not just this. So this is habit 3, but there's 7 habits of highly effective people. It is a goldmine. It is just, you can read it over and over again. There's so many good stuff in here. So much good stuff. And so you want to be in quadrant 2. So if quadrant 1 is burnout land, then quadrant 2 is the leadership land. Yeah, that's where you want to be. This is where you take your nose away from the project that you're working on and you go, oh my God, now I can see. Yeah, there is a story in the book where Dr. Covey talks about the difference between managers and leaders. And he says the managers are the people in the jungle, and they have like this huge team under them of machete wielding workers, and they're planning recreational time for their workers, and they're setting up the tents for to sleep at night, and they're organizing food deliveries and everything. And the leader is the one who climbs the highest tree, looks around and says, hey guys, we're actually in the wrong forest. Yeah. So when you work in quadrant 2, you get to plan ahead to reduce the workload of burnout land, quadrant 1. Yeah. And if you spend most of your time doing just answering phone calls, or, responding to emails, or, just binge watching stuff on Netflix or playing on your mobile phone, then that's a big indicator, or to me at least, that you're probably not very successful right now. All right. So this was quite a long live for me. I hope you got what you were hoping for, at least a few things. If you have any questions, by all means, put them in the comments and I will gladly answer them for you later. So I will be back here next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central European Time, with another installment of Be, Think, Transform. Until then, be good. Take care.